Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today this video is a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm gonna title this one kind of, I guess, story time. So today is I'm gonna tell story day. Except it's not a story like a made-up story, fictitious or I don't even know. Oh my god, I'm so tired. But kind of like my backstory, so you guys kind of know me a little bit better than just what you see in the videos, which is 100% me. Okay, nothing is absolutely fake at all. But just kind of give you a backstory, and this kind of started because I had mentioned something in regards to my family and whatnot on that video for the unboxing on Scott's gift that he sent me. And thank you, by the way. Thank you. And thank you for the future one that you're about to send or have sent. And I haven't checked my mail yet, so I don't know. You said there was one sitting in the mailbox. I haven't checked that one yet. But, with that said, just to give you guys a little bit more background of me and where I come from and all this stuff, so you get to know more about me. So where do I begin? It's really kind of not complicated. It's pretty simple. So everybody knows I'm from Ohio, and I'm currently living in Los Angeles. I'm in California now, and I've been in California since 1986. So I've lived here quite some time. So I pretty much, I grew up like as a kid in Ohio, but I went to high school in California. So when I moved out here, that's, when I started high school, pretty much, minus the shot records. And that's another story. My shot records were sent to Kentucky, and I had to get all my inoculations all over again in order to get into the California school system. What a nightmare. So then, I was up in Oxnard, at Oxnard High School, and then, obviously I moved down to West Hollywood in, 1992. But, before that, I mean, there is kind of like a little bit of backstory. So I have, my mom was married twice. So she was married first, and then she had 3 children, and then she married my father, and she had me. So, my mom had 2 husbands. Obviously she got divorced in between, so don't even oh yeah, I don't want to hear that. Somebody said, oh, she was like a Mormon or some shit. No. She was married, she divorced, she married my dad, she had me. Okay, so I have 2 half-sisters and 1 half-brother. I don't know my half-sisters, shall I say. I think I met one when I was a kid, but essentially they were living with their father, not my father. Again, they're my half-sister. And my half-brother, I pretty much knew because he spent a lot of time in between our house, which was with my mom and I, and his dad, because he was out of control. Like, he was a bad kid. Like, he got into trouble, like bad trouble. So he would go back and forth, and he couldn't stand living with his dad because he was so strict, and then he'd come back to my mom and he'd put her through hell and vice versa. So with that said, my half-brother, moved to California first, and in the process of that, my mom, oh god, I'll never forget this. Okay, so my mom was a nurse. I mean, she always went to school even when she was working. My mom was she was an RN, she was LVN. I mean, she pretty much did everything. She was constantly going to school. She even went to school to become a workers' comp lawyer, but she never finished. So she was very, very, very smart, hardworking woman. And my dad is a deadbeat dad. They've been divorced since I was like 2. So that side of that whole family is just, I mean, even like my mom's side of the family is just as well. But my dad and all that scenario is like shit of shit, right? Total deadbeat dad, never paid an ounce of child support, never did nothing. So my mom was a hard worker. She worked 3 jobs, put food on the table, to make ends meet. And trust me, things were not handed to me. Everything I ever had, I worked my ass for. And so, I know what the welfare cheese is, okay? I just because I've been in movies and I've done TV, and I've done TV series and did a lot of stuff. Doesn't mean that I have a privileged life and everything is handed to me. Oh no, it was a struggle growing up. I know what it is to not have food on the table. I know what it is to not be paying your rent. I know what it is to be evicted. Okay. So I know that life. I know that freaking struggling to get by paycheck to paycheck life very well. And my mom did everything she could to make it happen, but things are hard when you're alone, as I do now, as I know, as a person myself. I don't have kids, but just to support everything and keep everything together, it's tough. So I'm not one to not know what it is when people say that they're struggling or they're having a hard time. I know exactly what the hell you're going through. So with that said, my brother was the first one to move to California, and he chased some girl out here. This I don't know. I don't even think I even met the girl, but he stole my mom's $20,000 fox fur coat that she had gotten at some point along the way, on sale, of course. This full-length fox fur coat, and take back to my mom being a nurse. She had gotten asthma due to one of the nurses' aides in I think it was like a nursing home or mental institution. I'm not sure, but it had 3 levels in a basement. If you're from Ohio, you know what a basement is. My mom was in the very bottom where the basement was, and there was patients down there. But my mom walked down there, and this nurse's aide had mixed bleach and ammonia together in a bucket and put a fan behind it to dry the floors. And the fumes, as you know, you cannot mix bleach and ammonia together at all. It's very caustic. When my mom walked in, she instantly had burning in her eyes and her throat, and she couldn't see. And so my mom crawled on her hands and knees and drugged the patients out, which they died because they're in their 90s and hundreds. They're not going to survive those fumes. And my mom, I'll never forget this. It's like my mom, was in trouble, but she came home and she tried to play it off, and she went and she got one of those over-the-counter inhalers that you buy, that shit that you buy. Unbeknownst to my mother, she was allergic to epinephrine, which that's what, opens up your lungs, is the epi. Not all inhalers have epinephrine, but that particular one over-the-counter that you can buy does. Now, my mom did not know she was allergic to epinephrine, and why would you know unless, you needed it for, anaphylactic or your heart stopped or some shit like that. So she took the inhaler, and it really caused her more. And so now she's in the shower trying to breathe with the steam, and it's just not happening, and she collapsed on the floor. And we didn't have a phone at the time in the house. And it's like midnight, and I'm like 12 years old, and I'm running to the neighbors, to get help and call on an ambulance. And, it was just very scary to see your mother completely down and just things like that. So it caused me to grow up really fast and learn to take responsibility really at a younger age, and just really, learn things that maybe a normal 12, 13, 14-year-old kid shouldn't be doing. You should still be a kid, but you're kind of taking over, but not taking over. So with that said, my mom got asthma due to this this nurse's aide. She ended up in ICU for 9 days, and it was so bad. It was 1982, 83 when that happened, and at that time AIDS first came out. So when my mom went into the hospital, she had no white blood cells at all. They were completely gone, and they kind of first thought she had HIV, that she was AIDS, and so they came in with the white suits, and all this stuff, and didn't want to touch her, and all this horrible, and it was just because her lungs were burnt. Everything was burnt, but it was a very scary time on those days. With that said, my mom's asthma was like a trigger with bleach, a trigger with the snow, a trigger. That's how we ended up in California. But again, my brother moved here first, chased some girl, stole my mom's fox fur coat. And when the district attorney's office came to the door, because my brother had written some bad checks, my mom's first thing was go check the closet for the coat. And my mom, I went up and I looked for it and it was gone. And we knew that, that coat was gone. It put my mom in the hospital. She was all stressed because of the asthma was just overboard and it was just really bad. Well, we let bygones be bygones and we moved to California. And of course, my brother, now we're living with my brother. We got an apartment up in Port Hueneme and everything is okay. Except my mom ran into bleach and she was like in and out of the hospital. And in the meantime, my brother's chasing after this other girl in Oxnard and basically takes all the money for the rent and decides to spend it on this girl. And my mom can't work. She wasn't working as a nurse, but she was working as a medical assistant because she needed to go back to college to get her license in the state of California to practice. So she was working as an MA. And me, I luckily was not in school because my shot records went to Kentucky. So I had that whole year out, and thank you, Jesus, that I did. Because in that time frame, my brother was spending the money, and unbeknownst to us, we did not know that. And he was really nowhere to be found, and basically saying my mom was faking it in and out of the hospital. And mind you, I'm like 14 at this time. And my brother, essentially the sheriff department come and they evicted us. And my brother took us to well, first he dumped us off at this C Street Hotel, which was like in the hood of Oxnard, like the really shitty part, and it was so bad. We had no money, and I remember going to the little what do you call it? My mom and I would go get free hamburgers off of this little like taco hamburger stand there, and they would give us like food because they knew we were like struggling. But I remember like we had no phone in the room, and there was like these guys, these little Mexican guys that would sit outside at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning outside our door on fucking painter's buckets, waiting for us to open the door so they could come in, or waiting to break in. And my mom, she was brave. She went downstairs to go tell him to call the police to get him out of there. And I mean, it's just like all kinds of shit. Well, the money that we did have ran out from the hotel that we were staying in. And my brother essentially took us to a homeless shelter. And so I was in a homeless shelter when I was 14 with my mom. And then we were there for maybe, I don't know, a month in the shelter. And then we ended up getting like room for exchange for babysitting. They said they had 3 kids. They ended up having 9. Or like, what the fuck? We ended up leaving there and going out to this place in Camarillo that was like a farmhouse, had all these animals. That's where I rode the horse bareback and almost died. His horse took off on the freeway, and that's where I saw a cow be shot and butchered, and just kind of changed my whole perception of like eating a lot of meat at that point, just watching that. But anyways, my mom couldn't stand it there because of the too many animals. I mean, they had like 20 some dogs and 30 some cats, and it was overbearing for her asthma. So we ended up getting this other apartment, with these 2 girls, Shirley and Donna. Shirley had a daughter, and then Adele, and then Donna, and then they got married and they essentially moved away, but at that point, like it was a really nice like 4-bedroom condo, but we ended up going into a 2-bedroom. And then my brother comes back around again, after all this. He's had a kid with this girl and all this shit, and we let him stay in our apartment. And then when we were moving down to West Hollywood, we told him basically he had to get the fuck out. So essentially cut to, years down the road when we lived, when my mom was alive and we lived in West Hollywood, and my brother would come down for Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. And that's the only time I seen him. And I'm not a kid person. I don't like children. And I would still buy them gifts. And of course they'd open them up and be like, this is it, that's all. And if he said anything, like, your kids act like barnyard animals, it transposed to, they went back and said that, and we were racist against Mexicans, because a little backstory, Sandy was Mexican, and her mother, Diana, just didn't like us at all. And when my mom was in the hospital, when we were in the shelter, her mother actually tried to, she stormed into the hospital and tried to She was threatening, and maybe, I don't know, I don't know how far she went, but she definitely said that she was going to take me off of my mother and put me in a foster home. This woman, Sandy's mother, Diana, and, like, how dare you? You know what I mean? Like, this is the mother of the woman that my brother was chasing and dumped us off in a homeless shelter for, okay? Dumped us off in a homeless shelter for. So, yeah. So, it transpires if you say anything that you're racist, Okay. Barnyard Animals, does that have any inkling to anything? Whatever. So, in the end, what happened was, it was like 1989, 88. No, God, 1988. What am I thinking? 1998. I'm tired. I'm sorry. It was 1998. Okay. And my brother had one kid with this woman, and then she got married and had another kid with another guy and then divorced, or maybe they never were married. I have no idea. But like I said, both the kids would come down. Only one of them is my brother's kid. But my brother was like kind of trying to get back with her, and so taking care of both kids. So after my brother came down for Thanksgiving, I think it was Thanksgiving. Shortly after that, or maybe it was right before Thanksgiving. I think it was right before Thanksgiving. He came down to Thanksgiving in 97 and Christmas in 97. And then out of the blue, it was November 18th. I am really good with dates. It was November 18th to 1998. My brother calls up, and I happen to like have a really good day happening in my life. And he, I guess, was in trouble because he was in that Ford, the car Ford program where you buy the Mustang, you don't like it, trade it in, get the Bronco, don't like it, trade it in. Well, he was doing that shit. First car got wrecked, second car, something happened, blah, blah, blah. He ended up getting like a Viper or something, and he ended up writing a bad check for like $4,000. And it was a good day, and he called up, and I guess they were after him. The DA's office was after him because of the bad check, and he asked for money, and my mom called me at work, and I said, okay. So the next day, I remember I put the money on the table. Like, I went to the bank, got the money. I had the money. I was making good money at that time. And he came down, he got it, and that was the last I ever saw my brother. Now, when my mom passed away, and this past week has been kind of, my mom died April 2nd, 2006, and her birthday is April 3rd. Her birthday was on April 3rd. So she died one day before her birthday. So this whole week has been kind of like, my mom, Tuesday was the day my mom died. Yesterday would have been her birthday, so it's been one of those weeks. April's never a good month for me. This is also like the month Damien died, it's just like, ugh, April I dread. So when my mom was dying, I tried calling the police department up in Oxnard to try to reach out to him. I haven't heard from him since 1998. It's not like you can't find me. All you gotta do is Google my fucking name and you'll find me. So I tried to reach out to him, and of course they had contact with him, but then there was no further contact. So what does that mean? My brother doesn't know that his mom is dead, nor does he give a shit. My mom and I were peas and carrots. We were super, super tight. I have no idea where my brother is, and I don't care. So yeah, I know what it's like to live in a shelter. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to struggle. I have had highs in my life, and I have lows in my life. Yes, people say, I was like, I stripped and I did this. Yes, I did strip. I did get a job. I was bookkeeping, actually, in 1995, and then I ended up mutually splitting the job. It was a mutual agreement, trust me. So I ended up quitting, and my mom was like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I would love to dance. And my mom was like, all for it. So I ended up going into a strip bar, but it was like a kind of a bikini bar. You strip down your bra and hot shorts. You actually never took anything off. And I was working there from 95 to 96. But in the meantime, I ended up, through that, working at that club, over West LA, I ended up getting the job on the internet, doing live internet stripping, which was paid way more. I went, I had like customers at the club, but to work, and not have to depend on your customers coming in and whatever, was so much better. Plus I had taxes taken out. I didn't have to worry about filing all the taxes and whatnot. And I went from making, I don't know, maybe 40,000 at the strip bar a year or something. I don't know. You have good days, you have bad days. To 120,000 at the internet. Literally, it paid very well, and it was a big corporation. This is back when it was good. Now everybody and their brother tries to do it, and there's no money in it anymore. These were the golden days before the internet took over and everything went. So yeah, I've had my highs, I've had my lows, and then when I quit that job, I didn't work for 5 years because I had money, and then I started producing films. While I was working at that job, I actually did a lot of films. Like I was traveling and I still had a job. Now working a job where I'm working at now, working in a doctor's office, like I worked at the cancer center. You can't leave and be an actor and go film for 2 weeks or 10 days and then fly back. And you think you're going to have a job when you return? Hell to the motherfucking no. No, you're not going to have a job. So that job was golden. And, even working at the strip bar was cool. And at that time, the owner, Dennis, was so brilliant, so sweet, and really treated the girls well. If a guy got out of line or touched you, he was automatically thrown out. Now, I went back there in 2003, and it was shit of shit. Nobody was dancing on the stage. All they had was like these girls that were just there to get their green card from Mexico or Russia. And literally it was money laundering. They were laundering money and all this shit, but there was no customers. And then the customers they did have, guess what they were doing in the back? Well, I'm not that girl to do that. I never have been. Even when I was at the club, I wasn't the drinker, I wasn't the drugger, I never did drugs. I've never done drugs. So, I've certainly tried an edible, from the marijuana, and that just, it doesn't sit well with me. And then smoking it just is, but I've never done drugs. I mean, I had to have my shit together. You can't be doing drugs and high and trying to get your shit together. You know what I mean? So that was never me. I wasn't the girl that passed out in the bathroom. I wasn't the alcoholic. I wasn't this or that. So surprisingly to all, like, oh, I'm like this, whatever. Like a lot of people assume because of the pictures and the movies that I've done that I'm a certain way. And I'm polar opposite from what you think. I'm like the good girl. Unfortunately, too good for my own good. So yeah, so that kind of gives you a little like insight. I mean, there's so many other dramas, and even like, the dramas I had. I mean, but back to like being homeless and stuff. It's kind of like once we got back on our feet, my mom got her license to be a nurse. When, like I said, we got our own apartment. I started college very young. I actually started college at 15 and a half, and I studied in dramatic arts. And, as that contest that I put on my Facebook page, yes, I did get a letter to be able to go have dinner with President Bush, the first President Bush. So that was pretty cool. And I've been in Who's Who of American Students twice. And like my first year of high school, I totally like didn't show up. I didn't go. There was all these gangs. It was like really dangerous. I was scared out of my fucking mind. I'm from Ohio. You're coming to California? Whole different ball game here. It's a whole different ball game. Like Ohio is nothing compared to the way it is in LA and Oxnard and the gangs. Like seriously, it was like really bad where they would separate with the cops at the school with a line. One side here, one side this, one gang over here, one gang over. It was bad. So yeah, the school was bad. I didn't like to go. But then my second year, everything just changed, and I got good grades and everything was good. And that's when I started doing a college thing at night, and yeah, it was cool. It was fun. But yeah, so a little backstory of me, like when I hear somebody say something on Facebook that they're going through a hard time, I know exactly what the fuck you're going through. Things were never handed to me. I had to work for it. And I was also working while I was in high school. My first job was when I was 15 and a half, actually. And I started working at Hallmark. And that was my first job. And then I was working at the grocery store. I was a bagger, And then I got a job at the nursing home on the weekend as a bed maker, changing shitty bedding. And then I did dispatch for the police department, the ambulance service up in Oxnard. So I did those 911 calls, and then I moved down to West Hollywood and I worked in a bank and, I did all kinds of jobs, I've done it. But yeah, and then acting kicked in and, it was fun, and I got that bug and then, there's other stories, and Love Life and, oh God, and with John. And I mean, that's his real name, but he has a stage name. And pretty much everybody that's into horror knows who the hell I'm talking about. Anybody knows personally. And that was an 18-year relationship and a man that owes me about $40,000. Yeah, yeah, that's another story. But yeah, he owes me a lot of money. 20 years older than and I was supporting him, for many years, many years, and got played around on big time with that one. Fucked around with many women. Yeah, that's another story. But I just want to give you a little backstory about me so you kind of know where I come from and that, so kind of dispel like people thinking, oh, I just, I'm this type of a girl or I don't know what anybody's talking about or whatever, because how could I of all people have been, know anything about troubles or struggles or whatever. No, I do, And then, it's like when I packed up and moved to Arizona to be the tattoo artist, I got fucked over by that asshole. Coming back and not having anything. And I thank everybody who helped me get back with my GoFundMe account that I had. I love you guys so much. And that, being in such a dark place there and alone, like, I ain't got my mom anymore. I ain't got nothing. Yeah. And then coming back here and like trying to get a job. And, last year was very, very difficult. Things are slowly turning around, financially, but it's been a struggle. I'm not going to lie. It's been a fucking struggle, just getting back on your feet. Moving out of California is easy. Coming back is like the toughest thing in the world because it's so fucking expensive. But I was determined, just like everything else in my fucking life that I've ever had. Everything in my life has been a challenge. Everything. I was fucking determined and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make it happen. It's gonna happen. It will happen. It has to happen. Otherwise, I didn't want to live anymore. And that's the God's honest truth. Like, seriously, it was horrible being there. And yeah, I've been through tough times before that's probably worse than what I was, but I almost, and maybe why it felt so bad is because the house and the complex I lived in reminded me of that fucking homeless shelter, that Zoe Christian Center on Rose Avenue in 5th Street in Oxnard. Anybody that's living in Oxnard, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. I think they finally tore down that shithole by the railroad tracks. But that place reminded me of that fucking homeless shelter. And I think it just was like, I was like, oh my God, this is not me at this age. This should not be happening. It's kind of like going back to the strip bar now. What the hell am I doing at my age being in a strip bar? What the hell am I doing at my age being in a strip bar with being in all these films and all this stuff and my own little action figure? Nobody even knows about my action figure that I was supposed to do a movie with Bruce Campbell. Okay? I even have that. That's in a bedroom. That's for another story time. But this story time is just basically just give you a backstory of me, who I am, what I'm all about, and yeah, I mean, you either love me or you hate me. And I've certainly had my struggles in my lifetime. And, it's like we're riding for the ride. You got like point A to point B and all the shit in the middle. It's like, what is next, right? What is fucking next? But yeah, those are one of my little tidbits. And then what I kind of mentioned, I know this video is kind of long. I don't want to like keep it like forever going. But one of my little things I kind of mentioned about my whole shit with the family, what I'm talking about is like my father. Now, my father's dead, okay? Thank you, Jesus. He's gone. But I still got my uncle. I still have my fucking uncle. And just the idea and just the troubles in him stealing, taking whatever there would be, anything there, even though there intentionally wasn't anything there. I mean, there was, but it wasn't. It's complicated. But like, even when he would be calling, anytime I hear from him, it's always just run my mother down and talk shit about my mom. But essentially, he doing dirty with his lawyer and whatever. And, you know, like he's, in all points, he should be already gone. Like, but like with him doing the shit that he's been doing, with his shady lawyer, I think money was taken that was supposed to be mine, and now there's essentially nothing because it was essentially stolen. And you know, the more my attorney looked into it, it was, you know, it's basically gone. So when I got that in the mail, I was thinking, what the fuck is this? Like, really? Like, do I have to hear one more fucking shit from those people back there? You know, so just keep checking the obits. That's all I keep doing. Just checking the obits on Google. I mean, that's how you find out everything, you know, the obituary. So waiting for that day. But yeah. So when I say about the shitty family, I'm talking about my on my father's side, you know, that with my uncle. So, but yes, that's kind of like the first thing I saw because, you know, nothing comes out of like Alliance or Sebring, God forbid. But apparently the buttons do. So, yeah. And one day I'm going to order the freaking chocolate covered pretzels from Hagee's, I think it is, on Main Street. That's what I really want, is those damn chocolate covered pretzels. And I was going to get those a couple years ago, and I don't even know if they're still in business, but whatever. I eventually will order those because those are really, 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 really super good. But with that said, this video is like freaking a half an hour long, longer than a half an hour. It's going to be like so boring for you guys to watch this. I'm sorry this video is so long, but it is story time. So maybe I'll do a couple story times and then you'll get to know who I am and me and where I'm at. Well, kind of more what I'm all about. I mean, maybe that's why I'm so freaking triggered, because I've had so much shit in my life that it's like as soon as like I see one more person, because trust me, when I was in Ohio, I was not this person. Like I was shy, I was backward, I was like very much didn't say anything to anybody. If somebody talked shit to me, I just let it go. I didn't like have a mouth. I didn't like, you know, say nothing. Now, the older I am, tragedy and the more hardships and troubles and just people screwing you over, I mean over, and then, you know, you can't help it but snap. And as soon as something happens, you can't help it but just snap. I'm just so on edge. But that's also my big weakness, not being on edge, but my big weakness is kindness. Because that's how I get myself in financial ruin, especially with my ex. That got me in financial ruin before I even split out of California to go to Arizona. And then that really ruined me. But, yeah, he definitely did with his little games, you know, and paying for the cell phone, paying for the rent in the New Jersey, paying for the storage in Georgia, paying for the storage in Brooklyn, paying for all this as he's going merrily on his way. Yeah, so one day that'll come out and you all know who that motherfucker is. You know, it's just a fine line between love and hate, you know, especially when you love somebody so fucking much. But 20-year-old man, He's what, 67 now, or will be 67 in January? Still out there signing his autographs, trying to like at the horror conventions. Yeah. Merrily on your way. Merrily on your way. But you know what? He's fallen once, he'll fall again, and he'll fall 3 times. Third time he can get back up. So with that said, I'm going to sign out. I'm going to call it a night. I love you guys so, so very much. Sorry if this video was so freaking boring. If you made it to the end, congratulations. If not, I don't know. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And I thank you to all my subscribers. You are my family. I don't have family. All I have is friends. So if it wasn't for the people that had donated to the GoFundMe account to help me get back to California, that helped me huge. And the few friends that I have here, Antoine, Ernie, Linda, Sherry, Danny, the few friends that I have here that are my hardcore friends, like your friends that don't fucking let your ass down. Those people are my heart. Like, you're my family, because I don't have family. Like, I got shit people in Ohio on my mom's side and my father's side. I got shit people in Ohio. I don't have family out here. Don't know where my half-brother is. Never met my half-sisters. My half-brother don't even know his mother's dead and he don't care. So, you know, been alone for years, especially after my mom died in 2006. That's the way it is, you know? It's like my father taught me one fucking good thing. One fucking good thing. And I should have fucking really listened to it before I get involved with, like, men that are, wear the vagina because I wear the dick in the relationship. My dad taught me one good thing. Never, ever, ever depend on a man, you know? Never depend on a man. That was the only thing he ever taught me. And it wasn't because he physically said it. It's what he showed me. And now I know. You can't depend on a man. Anytime. Anytime. You got to do shit for yourself and you got to do it alone. And that's the way my mom did and that's the way I do. It's the way I roll. So with that said, I'm going to peace out. I'm going to call it a night. Except I'm going to shoot special effects video. I'm definitely going to shoot it. I think I'm going to burn my arm. I think I want to char my arm. I've never done a burnt skin. So I'm definitely going to try that one out and see how it looks. It may look really stupid and maybe really bad, but what the hell? We're going to go for it tonight. Alrighty, guys. I love you so, so much. I thank you to all that are subscribed and my last couple new subscribers. I'm at 325 now. I'm so happy with that. Oh my God, if I can make it to 350, it's going to be a fucking miracle. I swear to God, it's going to be a fucking miracle. But yeah, so I'm at 325 and I thank you to all my latest, newest subscribers. I thank you to my OGs and all my subscribers from the very beginning. You guys are all my family. You're part of this channel. You're a part of my heart. You're a part of me. And if you're watching this video and you're not yet subscribed, smash the hell out of that subscribe button. Alrighty, guys? Smash the subscribe, hit the like, hit the bell for notifications, and leave a comment if you want. I don't know. You don't have to. I know I'm rambled. But with that said, I'm going to peace out and see you later. Peace.